Okay, maybe a bit lower. In 1745, the Polish Catholic priest Benedict Śmielowski wrote his book Nowe Ateny, which means New Athens. You can see the cover of this book here with this enormously long subtitle. This is my favorite part. Where's the laser? Here. Idiotom dla nauki, for idiots to learn. That's lovely how language changes. It is famous because it is one of the first Polish encyclopedias, but I believe it is even more famous because of its definition of a horse. Because Śmielowski says, koń jaki jest każdy widzi, which means everyone can see what a horse is. Why I'm talking about this? Because I feel like in game design, or even wider in whole game industry, we have a lot of horses to define. And you know, we are constantly keep using terms that we expect we understand the same way, but it is not always the case. And of course, I'm not the only one who complains about it, because I consider it as a problem, as if it wasn't obvious. I remember a few years ago, I've read the paper from Greg Kostikian, I Have No Words and I Must Design. It was written in 2002. And now, after 22 years, I can proudly say we are still in the same place. Woo! Yeah, because maybe it is a bit better, of course. But yeah, we have whole stables of horses still to define. Okay. My adventure with game design began long ago. I was just, I started just making things without knowing any definitions. I have no formal education in this topic at all. I was just like this guy on our shirts. I was just tick, 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 and I was doing my games. And as I was doing this, in some point in history, I've encountered the term replayability. Somebody told something is replayable, somebody told something is not. The term itself is also pretty self-explanatory because, well, it is all about playing again. So I developed something I would call the intuitive understanding of replayability. And it was enough to proceed to make more games and even to publish a game. Once Gutenberg was released, that's the game I co-designed with Kasia Cioch. I was, of course, very curious how my game performs. So I read all those comments, reviews, all this stuff, and I have three conclusions, basically. The first one, we did a good job, that's fine, because we wanted to make a game that would be kind of gateway between family games and Euro-style games. And people like it as such a title. But in all those comments, there were two main complaints about it. The first one is a bit funny for me because it is about character balance. And I've read comments like, obviously character A is strictly better than character B. Then a few comments below, exactly the same sentence, almost, but with A and B switched around. So yeah, we can draw some conclusions of this, out of this, of course. But that's not the topic for today. What made me standing here right now, it was this second thing. And in those comments from, let's call them experienced players, they were claiming that, okay, I will certainly use this game to introduce my friends that are not that much into board games to harder games. But myself, well, I'm not that really interested in replaying it because it is all about printing and fulfilling contracts and etc. And at first I was like, of course it is about printing. Have you read the name of this game? Come on! But after reading some more comments, I realized that those people, well, using language they have, they were talking about replayability. And my understanding at that point was like, wait. We have a randomized setup in this game. We have random goals that players could score each game. We have variable player powers, as I've said about those characters in this game. So all this stuff that should result in replayability. So why they don't say it? And that was the time I started asking. I started reading. I started watching, listening to, gathering all the knowledge I can gather, just to build better understanding of this phenomenon. And yeah, I was naively hoping that today I would be able to tell you everything about replayability, of course. But now I'm standing here and claim that replayability is like the Hydra. Once you find one answer, another 3 questions appear from nowhere. So yeah, but I think that's maybe that's possibly the best place in the world to give such a lecture, to lie all those questions down, because hey, all of you guys are into game design, so maybe in future together we can gather some more answers and eventually slaughter this monster Hydra. Okay, the first thing one should ask regarding replayability is, do we even need it? Because I think the answer is by default yes, and I don't think that's true. Because of course there are many games that need replayability, of course. And it would be such a shame to play Pigs and Trampolines only once in your life. So yeah, we certainly, in most cases, we need replayability. But there are games that don't use replayability, using something instead. And like my beloved Detective. And here you have some mystery to solve, some case to solve. And that mystery, to make this game replayable, you should make this game completely in a different way. And yeah, I don't want to dive deep into all those sub-cases, all these story-driven games that, I don't know, let's call them investigation games, legacy games, and so on, all this stuff. But there is one topic I want to briefly talk about, that is educational games. Because I work sometimes with, NGOs or those people. I love them because they want to make games that would change the world. That's absolutely fantastic for me. And I know some of you work with such people, or even you are such people. And yeah, I think it is quite important because when I start a new project with people from NGOs, I often ask some questions to establish the boundaries of the project we're going to conduct. And one of those questions is, do you want this game to be replayable? Of course, not with these words, but to keep things simple. And the answer is always yes, because they look at the lack of replayability as a flaw. And I want to help those people, and I realized that I don't help them that much as I can, because I ask them if they want. But now I think in future I would be advising them to, not use replayability, use something instead. And I have one brilliant example of this approach. The game Czy wypada rzucać tortem, which we can translate as Is it appropriate to throw a cake? Made by Kasia Cioch and unfortunately absent Krzysiek Wiśniewski. Greetings, Krzysiu. In this game, without spoilers, players are set in a fictional world of some creatures that behave certain way, but they have a lot of conventions that players don't understand, and they don't know how to behave in such environment because it is a bit embarrassing. Maybe they don't know what to do, and basically the game is built around this thing they don't know, because once they know, the experience of being let's call it excluded, like maybe some people's with the spectrum of autism in our life, in reality. Yeah, and without this mystery, lack of this mystery would kill this game, basically. So yeah, I think that's the first conclusion we can have. Once you start working on your prototype, just ask yourself, do I really want this game to be replayable? It is the best way for this game. If yes, come with me. If no, then don't just sit down and relax, but try to find something that would make it unique. Because replayability, or an assumption of replayability in my game, is ograniczający? Limiting for me. Yeah, thank you. Constraining for me. And making games not replayable will allow us to use some methods that are not available for us when we work under this assumption of replayability. So make a good usage of your creativity and make something unique. And maybe to support my my statement, my approach, I want to show you the quote from On Replayability, Emotion, Mechanics and Necessity by Matthew Gott. That's the article I've found on GameDeveloper.com. Yeah, I don't see here. Maybe like this. Yeah. The idea that each playthrough needs to be unique to be meaningful is flawed. And the best proof of this is outside games. We all have our favorite films, books and TV shows, those that we can watch or read over and over again. So basically, we love good stories, even if we know their endings. Okay, and the next reality I realized the existence of, that maybe don't need that much replayability, is the publisher's point of view. Because let's pretend we have the machine that would help us rate the game's replayability, and for simplicity, put it on the scale from 1 to 10. And imagine that we are in a publishing house, there's a development team, and boss comes to the development team and they say, well, boss, we now have a game that is 5 out of 10 on replayability scale. Give us 2 weeks and we could make it 6.5. And at this point, probably boss would say, well, 5 is not enough for us, let's go with this. After those 2 weeks, the situation repeats. This gain is not that big as it was before, but let's pretend boss will be okay with this. After next 2 weeks, maybe the gain is getting even lower. The boss may be quite iffy with this, but let's pretend they allow to do this. And at some point, there is the moment when rational publisher would say, no, that's the place where we land, because we have to feed our families, we need to publish another games, and that will be enough for this project, because it is not bad rating, we don't need to push it as high as we can. That's the moment we probably stop. And to put it maybe in some different way, if I am the designer and I want to make the best game possible, so the best game possible probably means that it is infinitely replayable. And if it is infinitely replayable, it probably means that players don't need other games. And if they don't need other games, that makes them, this player, the worst client in world's trade history. So it's more like that. And it may be a bit sad, because when you realize that, well, so publishers are not interested in replayability, but I think they are, but not to, as I've said, push it as high as they can. Yeah, I think we can live with this, that only decent replayability is needed in real life. Okay, I need to drink and we proceed. All those articles I've read and all these videos I've watched, I would simply call all this stuff article. So all these articles I've read, or most of them at least, were written from the perspective of video games. And one may say, well, what's the difference actually? Because a game is a game, we are trying to give our players the best experience possible. We just use another media, and that's all. And partially it is true, but I think there is a subtle difference between those two universes. And to explain it to you, I need to introduce 3 terms I want to use to make things clear. From now on, I would use the term the game for the system itself, with its components, with its rules, with its mechanics, you know, all this clockwork system. Play session I would reserve for time we spend with the game at one shot. So basically, yeah, the act of usage of a game. And playthrough I would reserve for playing the game from its start to its end. And in our world is mostly like this, sometimes like this if it is a smaller game. So basically we during one session we play one bigger game or a few smaller games, or if we like this game, maybe a few playthroughs of this particular one that we play, but it basically looks like this. And in video games, it looks like this, maybe mostly. And a little disclaimer here. I am aware of existence of games like Sleeping Gods that fits this model, or Slay the Spire that would fit that model. I'm not talking about all the reality of games. I want to show you the landscape that appears from those articles I've read. So they are writing them from this perspective mostly. Why it is important? Because I think, of course we haven't defined replayability yet, but we will get to this. Now we are basing our intuitive understanding of replayability. When we ask how to make, what does it mean to the game to be replayable, I think in our world is more like questioning what to make the player play the next session with my game. So it makes us, let's call it, session-oriented. And again, from these articles I've read, it appears that video gaming is more like what to make our players make the next playthrough with my game. So it makes them playthrough oriented. And why it is the difference? Because they simply were answering the question what to make player make the next playthrough, even don't considering that making player play the next session is an issue. So they take this for free from these articles. It looks like in this digital paradigm, let's call it, they think that make the player play next session is something from gameplay itself, from playability, not from replayability. And that enforces us to maybe answer some additional questions. So maybe find some another methods. We can learn a lot from them, but we have to develop something more in our universe. And I think it is important because once the player finishes the game, they may feel they know this game. Because, well, I've seen something from its start, to its ending. So maybe even this is even a stronger feeling in our tabletop universe. Because let's look, when we finish the game, we put components back to the box, and we close the box like we're closing the coffin, and we put this box back on the shelf. And that's the clear moment of ending. That's the clear moment of ending. So this feeling in a player may be really strong. And what they do in video gaming, they basically, their base strategy is to extend the playthrough. So add some additional stuff, add some side quests. I remember as I was a teenager, I was playing GTA San Andreas a lot, and once I finished the main plot, I wanted to make 100% of this game, of course. And then, after being, the chef of the gang, I became a firefighter, or I don't know, taxi driver. That was completely different reality, but yeah, it sometimes works. Okay, that's one method, because they basically are pushing forward this moment feeling appears in a player's mind. Because, okay, I finished the main plot, but I have now 60% more of the game, just to get some flowers and, I don't know, bring them to the smith in a village. I think what is maybe the best strategy for us, yeah, and I don't claim I know everything. That's just my thoughts about this. I think we should shrink this feeling in a player, because we cannot extend the playthrough. So. Okay, maybe a bit, but it's still within one session. And how to achieve it? Well, that's one of my open questions. I don't have clear answer for. Maybe next slides would tell more about it, but I think that's the way we should think about it. Okay, the next thing, but before a sip of water. After a sip. There is a common thing that people mix up with replayability, and I would call this thing variety. And I would define variety like that. So this is the variable availability of games components. I mean, not only, in setup we put some components to the box completely, but even, we shuffle the action cards deck, and the sequence of cards would be different in each playthrough. So this availability is still variant. I think it is quite elegant definition. And I would maybe extend it to gain not components but entities, to make it fit maybe video games and mobile games and all this stuff. Yeah, that's something. And I claim, well, there are people who think that variety, because you know all this stuff, this is random setups, random bonus tiles, all this stuff. Many people think that's the same. Well, including me before Gutenberg's revolution. So yeah, why it isn't the same? I claim it is more like this, where this green, that's the green, yeah. The green blob is replayability, and the orange one is for variety. Let's look at some examples. We have the game War. You know, the silly game where we reveal cards and compare their values. This game has a lot of variety, because we are, at the beginning of the game, we are asymmetric, because we were dealt cards at random. Well, I may have all queens and you may have any. And even during the game, the number of cards in our decks changes. So yeah, that game has a lot of variety. Is it replayable? I wouldn't say so. On the other hand, we have chess. Well, we haven't established the definition of replayability yet, but I think the game that we will constantly keep playing for hundreds of years should be considered replayable, to be honest. And it has no variety at all. Okay, maybe we can toss a coin, whoever would go first, but that's all. So, yeah, we found something that is in this set and not in that set, and the other way around. So we can conclude those sets aren't the same. But to maybe put things even brighter, let's pretend I want to make an expansion for Splendor and for Seven Wonders. And my expansion would consist of gold cards. I will deal one gold card to each player in setup, and gold card would tell you, well, you would get some bonus points for collecting blue cards or for collecting red cards. Some basic idea. I think you know this from many games. And I claim, if variety is replayability, that should bring replayability to those games. And in case of Splendor, I don't think it is the case. Because let's use some fancy word. Colors in Splendor are isomorphic, so they are basically the same in character. Yeah, and the playthrough in which I have the gold card with blue and the playthrough in which I have the gold card with red would make things different, I think. But in Seven Wonders, well, I think it would bring some replayability because, well, collecting blue cards and collecting red cards are two different strategies, even for my neighbors, because they are influenced by my red cards. Or, of course, they are influenced by what I draft, of course, but that's a side note. I don't claim those games need my beautiful expansion. I just wanted to show how one idea, and the same idea, could result with replayability in one title, and in another title, not at all. And I think that's the next conclusion we can have. Well, dear designers, don't smash your games with unnecessary variety, because all you want from variety is to bring replayability to the table. Or maybe if you're a Kickstarter campaign, that's not your... okay. Yeah, let's keep it on this theoretical level in which we all dream that perfect game exists and we try to achieve it. Yeah, so basically you want to bring replayability to your game by adding variety. So maybe look at those things that are impactful and vary only them. Because if, for example, your map vary every game, because every playthrough, then maybe you would need more components. Then you are extending setup. You put some work in players' hands that is unnecessary, because if your map variety don't bring that much replayability or at all, so maybe it is better to set it in stone and make your game a bit easier and put this variety where it is needed. And next conclusion we can have from this, as we can see, if you try to find replayability only in content you add to your game, that would be dead end. replayability must be in the core of your gameplay. So maybe this content would add some replayability, but I claim the core itself must be highly replayable. To your entire game would be replayable. And yeah, and the next thing, we sometimes ask if replayability should be considered player dependent or player independent. What is better? I think, well, we will see what I will say about replayability, but what I have to say about variety, that the variety is strictly player independent. It simply doesn't matter who plays the game, the variety is either inside or is not. So yeah, and what with replayability? Let's see. At first, I think we should consider playability, because those words are quite similar. I'm not sure if you noticed it. And yeah, the playability, maybe to put it even simpler, if I don't want to play a game once, then I certainly don't want to play it twice. So yeah, I think that's quite nice. And I searched for definitions of playability, and I now show you two of them. Well, they are not fully satisfying for me. Yeah, I forgot to say about the definition of replayability before. So why I'm not, maybe I would hide this to get your attention. And yeah, why I haven't started with the definition of replayability. Not because I forgot, but because I haven't found any that is fully satisfying for me. Because they are either not definitions at all, because like in Wikipedia you can find basically the replay value is the value of replaying a game. That's a horse. That's a horse. And or those definitions are including something I don't want to include, or excluding something I don't want to exclude. So at the end I will propose my own definition. It isn't perfect as well, but it's fine. And the same situation occurs with the definitions of playability. They are not strict, they are not rigid, they are not maybe definitions. But I think even from those definitions we can see that they are full of words. I'm not sure if you can see this highlighting. They are full of words that just screaming for the subject. So I don't know. It is easy for who, enjoyable for who, satisfying for who. Yeah. So I think it immediately follows that we should consider replayability to be player dependent. So we cannot exclude the player from our equation for replayability, let's say. Yeah, because playability is something very strictly player dependent. Okay. And now we are approaching our definition in little steps. One final slide. That's the idea I have. Is maybe not that much needed in our society, but I think it is worth giving it a name, because I've noticed something and I think it is nice. Because let's look. If we have chess, in chess, if my opponent would decide to make exactly the same set of moves every single playthrough, so then I eventually developed the strategy by which I could win every single time, and that's the moment when replayability dies, because I'm not longer interested in playing this, because what for? So the game itself won't do anything to mitigate this. And let's see the example of Terra Mystica, in which we have all those, the availability of bonus tiles, the sequence of gold cards, even the faction they have. That all the things, that all variety, let's use this term as we introduce it. These all things encourage the player, or even enforce the player, to play a different way. So I would call those two types of replayability passive and active. I'm looking from the perspective of the game. So chess is passively replayable because it allows the player to be creative and to find new other ways to play, while games like Terra Mystica are actively replayable because they, as I said, encouraging me or even setting me the boundaries in the game that would make me play a bit different game each time I play. And I don't think any of these is better. I think it's worth giving it a name. Maybe it is worth to ask yourself when you are designing a game, do I need more active replayability or more passive replayability? Well, I don't also think that extremes exist, because even, as I said before, in chess we can just toss a coin and I wouldn't be able to do my strategy from the playthrough that we had before, because now I'm going second. But it is maybe easier to find purely passively replayable games like chess, Go, checkers, or all this stuff. And I think both of them have pros and cons, because here in passively replayable games, the game allows the player to use all of the game, and in actively replayable games, players are restricted to some. The system have some clear edges, and their edges, the edges are different each time. So it allows the player to be more creative, but it could stuck. And here, the creativity of the player is risen. Let's call it pobudzana.
Rise up.
And enchanted. Yeah.
Encouraged.
By all this variety. Maybe that's just a little curiosity, but I like some theoretical stuff, and I was happy that I could stick it here. Okay, and now we are ready to head for the horn. We've gathered some ingredients that we would put in our cauldron, and we will gather some more on this slide. And I will propose my non-perfect definition. The first thing is this lack of omniscience. So basically, this moment when player realizes that they know the game. So the game should not have omniscience, let's call it, to be replayable. Another thing we discussed, it must be set in the core of the game. And another one, it should be player dependent, I claim. And a few more ingredients. One came from The Art of Game Design by Jesse Schell. That's one of my favorite lenses, the lens of curiosity. It is a bit connected to this knowledge about the game, but this approach is something I think it is closely related to replayability, because Jesse proposes that players should ask themselves questions, and they have to care about those questions. And I think, as designers, when we are searching for replayability, we should make the space for these questions to arise, to more questions to arise. And I wanted to put it here because, well, of course, at first, those questions are, well, can I actually win this game? Or is it wise to build the stronghold with giants in first round? Or something like that. But eventually, those questions transform to questions like, can I win this game playing sirens but without building towns? So there's kind of achievement. That's right. Yes, it becomes an achievement for the player. So if you manage your game to make questions appear in player's mind, that probably you've reached replayability. So that's the ingredient I want to put in our cauldron. The next thing is emergence. This quote comes from the Reddit thread where somebody asked, well, what do you think about replayability, what creates replayability, and so on. And there's a lot of interesting comments there, including this one. Somebody claims that creating novelty in every single play session, ideally, that's something they claim that would bring replayability to the table. And this bolden one, once the player's experience consistently matches their expectations, the fun leaves the equation. I think it is a nice ingredient to our cauldron, and I would call it emergence, because I love this word. Because there is an idea in game design that there are stories in games, two types of stories. There are embedded stories and there are emergent stories. Embedded stories is basically something that authors write, even if they have branching paths or decisioning system. After all, it is just the story I'm the viewer of, because it is the story somebody else created. That's embedded story. And emergent stories, they're the stories that emerge from the gameplay. So basically things like, oh, have you seen that? I've killed this monster in one shot because I rolled 3 sixes on my dice, or something like that. That's the thing we discuss after the gameplay. Oh, you grabbed this bonus tile, I wanted to grab my next round. So that's the story we created and we are actors in. We are not just viewers. So I claim we play games. Maybe that's the one reason of many for which we play the games. That's emergence. And I think if you can put emergence to your gameplay somehow, then yes, you have created a replayable game. The next ingredient, of course, I'm not gonna read all this comment. It comes from another Reddit thread where the question was about strictly about the definition of replayability, and that's the post from David Turci, as you can see. And David claims that there exists a few types of replayability: content replayability, tactical replayability, strategic, asymmetric, scenario, whatever all those things mean. But I think we can wrap it in one package, that your game should redeliver its core value. And that's the term I borrowed from Kit Bergen. The core value is basically the thing what your players play your game for, and you have to establish it while you playtest the game. What's that thing? Because in strategy games it would be depth, it would be the strategy, it would be decisions. In bowling it would be more like dexterity. In, I don't know, some story-driven game, it would be this story itself. So you have to establish what it is in your game, but your game have to redeliver it every single time we play. because if not, it breaks the premise to the player. And one final ingredient from The Value of Repetition by Ara Shirinian, also from GameDeveloper.com. The title of this article is pretty self-explanatory. It says much about what this article is. And this sentence is something that, in my opinion, captures the essence of the article. So, one distinguishing element of all these repetitive and interesting activities is that they are non-trivial. And the examples in this article were like throwing the ball to the basket. So you cannot succeed every single time. And it was opposed in the article to ironing your clothes, because basically you can succeed every single time. Both of these things are repetitive. So you are just doing the same set of moves. Maybe that's a little wired, but I think I can share it with you. When I was asking myself what the replayability is, and I was really struggled, and I wanted to explore this thing, I was asking myself a lot of weird questions, and one of the weirdest, if not the weirdest one, was why is sex replayable? Because mechanically, it's rather the same thing every single time. Yeah, but somehow, magically, we want it again. And I think that's the answer I was looking for. Those things are not trivial. So maybe to get back to the ground of games. We discussed war before. That was just revealing the cards. And this activity, it is easy, it is boring, it is redundant. We just reveal cards. And there are, it isn't interesting, it isn't not trivial. But let's look at, for example, Jungle Speed. The same gesture, but with a lot of emotions. But maybe to put it on the other ground, for example, I don't know, Game of Thrones or Scythe or any game that have combat cards to make it war-ish. We basically reveal cards, and that's the settlement of the battle. But the decision which card to use and when is by no means a trivial decision. The gesture is the same, so we basically do the same thing, but it is interesting and bring replayability to the table, because it is non-trivial. So, that's the moment I will show you my non-perfect definition. And I claim that replayability... A big word. Yeah, big relevance.
Sorry guys, I haven't.
I claim that replayability is the game's capability of setting new goals within its system for the player each time they play. And now I explain what I have in mind. That's the game's capability. So it is setting core, kinda. Setting new goals, of course, I don't mean goal cards. I mean the purpose to play. Because once the player don't think they have a purpose to play, they don't play. It is maybe this curiosity, this is maybe this lack of omniscience, this stuff. We want to know something more about the game. So, and we want to maybe experiment a little bit. And so that's the setting new goals. I've added this parenthesis within its system to exclude games that are replayable only by their expansions. So I claim if your game is not replayable by itself and it needs expansions, then your game is not replayable. The system that is created by the game and expansions, this system may be replayable, but the game itself is not. For the player, of course, we are player dependent, and each time they play, I sneaked here both words, the world of play session and the world of playthrough, because I don't want it. I didn't know how to put it in other words, basically. So yeah, it is, and it is also now the definition free of other definitions. So I quite like it. And yeah, as I look at the timer, that's probably the perfect time to show you this slide.